In the ancient city of Colophon, nestled in the heart of Lydia, there lived a young girl named Arachne. Born to a humble weaver, she was destined to follow in her father's footsteps, but fate had grander plans. From a tender age, Arachne's fingers moved deftly across the loom, weaving threads of wool into tapestries of breathtaking beauty. Her talent was no ordinary gift. It was as if the gods themselves had blessed her hands. As the years passed, Arachne's skill surpassed even her father's. Her embroideries were not mere decorations, but living, breathing works of art. Flowers bloomed under her needle, rivers shimmered with silver threads, and the eyes of her woven figures seemed to hold the depth of the soul. News of her extraordinary talent spread like wildfire, drawing noblemen and merchants from distant lands to her humble workshop. The nymphs of the forest, creatures of ethereal beauty, also found themselves drawn to Arachne's creations. They would often gather around her loom, marveling at the intricate designs and the stories they told. "Surely," they whispered, "this is a gift from Athena, the goddess of weaving herself." But Arachne, with a pride as bold as her talent, would smile and say, "No, this is my own doing. My hands, my mind, my art. Why must we always attribute greatness to the gods? I am Arachne, and my work surpasses even Athena's." Her words were met with gasps of shock and admiration. How dared a mortal claim to outshine a goddess? Yet, Arachne's confidence was unshakable. She wove with a passion and precision that left all who saw her work in awe. Her fame grew, and with it, a sense of defiance. She was no longer just a weaver, she was a legend in her own right. But legends often attract unwanted attention. In the halls of Olympus, Athena, the goddess of wisdom and weaving, heard of the young mortal who dared challenge her divine prowess. A storm of curiosity and indignation stirred within her. She decided to pay Arachne a visit, disguised as an old woman, to see if the girl's boasts held any truth. Little did Arachne know, her life was about to take a dramatic turn. And so, the stage was set for a clash of egos and talents, a story that would echo through the ages, a tale of pride, ambition, and the unpredictable nature of fate. The news of a mortal daring to challenge the gods reached the lofty halls of Olympus, where Athena, the goddess of wisdom and weaving, sat upon her throne. Her piercing gray eyes narrowed as she listened to the tales of Arachne, a young weaver from Colophon whose arrogance rivaled the heights of Mount Olympus itself. Athena's curiosity was piqued, and with it, a spark of indignation. How could a mere mortal claim to surpass a goddess? Determined to uncover the truth, Athena disguised herself as an elderly woman, her divine form hidden beneath a hooded cloak. She descended from the heavens, her sandals touching the earthly soil of Lydia. The journey was brief, for the fame of Arachne had reached even the gods. As she approached the young weaver's workshop, the hum of the loom and the chatter of admiring onlookers filled the air. Inside, Arachne sat at her loom, her fingers moving with a speed and precision that even Athena found impressive. The tapestry before her was a masterpiece, vibrant, intricate, and alive with the essence of the mortal world. Athena watched silently, her expression unreadable. Finally, she stepped forward, her voice low and wise. "Young one," she began, "your talent is undeniable. Your hands have been blessed with a gift, and your work rivals the finest creations of Olympus." Arachne turned, her eyes meeting those of the old woman, and for a moment she felt a flicker of humility. But Athena continued, her tone firm yet gentle. "Yet, remember this, greatness is not measured by skill alone, but by the humility with which it is wielded. To compare yourself to a goddess is not wise, for it is the gods who inspire and guide mortal hands. Do not let pride blind you, for it is a path that leads only to ruin." Arachne's cheeks flushed and her jaw tightened. She had heard such warnings before, but they only fueled her defiance. "I am not arrogant," she replied, her voice steady but laced with fire. "I speak the truth. If Athena herself were to weave beside me, I would not falter. My art is my own, and I will not bow to false modesty." Athena's gaze softened, for she saw in Arachne a reflection of her own unyielding spirit. Yet she also saw the peril of unchecked pride. "You are indeed talented, Arachne," she said, her voice carrying a hint of sorrow. "But let this be a warning to you. The gods are not to be trifled with. Heed my words, and you may yet avoid a fate you would regret." With that, the old woman turned and vanished, leaving Arachne to ponder her words. But the young weaver's heart remained unshaken. She believed in her own greatness, and nothing, not even the warning of a goddess, could deter her from her path. Little did she know, her defiance would soon lead to a confrontation that would change her life forever. In the heart of Colophon, within the humble studio of Arachne, the air was thick with anticipation. The nymphs, gathered as judges, whispered among themselves, their excitement laced with anxiety. The challenge had been set. Athena, the goddess of wisdom and weaving, would compete against Arachne, the mortal weaver whose audacity had reached the heavens. Athena, her divine form radiating confidence, stood at her loom, her fingers moving with the precision of a master. Her tapestry began to take shape, a grand depiction of her victory over Poseidon in the contest for Athens. The scene was majestic. Poseidon's trident struck the earth, creating a spring of seawater, while Athena's olive tree symbolized peace and prosperity. The nymphs watched in awe, their eyes wide with wonder. Across from Athena, Arachne's determination was palpable. Her hands danced across the loom with fierce focus, crafting a tapestry that would serve as a bold critique of the gods. She chose a scene of Zeus's abduction of Europa, the mortal princess, transforming into a white bull to deceive her. The detail was exquisite: Europa's fear, the cunning of Zeus, the tumultuous sea. It was a daring statement, a challenge to the divine authority. As the last threads were woven, the room fell silent. The nymphs approached each tapestry, their faces reflecting the emotions depicted. Athena's work was divine, a testament to her power and grace. Yet, Arachne's tapestry was not only technically brilliant, but also a provocative commentary on the gods' misuse of power. Athena's gaze lingered on Arachne's work, her expression a mix of pride and irritation. "Your skill is undeniable, Arachne," she said, her voice steady but tinged with annoyance. "But your audacity is folly. Why challenge what is beyond your realm?" Arachne met her gaze, unwavering. "I weave not to challenge, but to create. My art speaks the truth, whether the gods will it or not." The nymphs, sensing the tension, murmured among themselves. Athena's tapestry was divine, yet Arachne's held a raw, mortal passion that resonated deeply. The comparison was inevitable, the outcome far from clear. As the judges deliberated, the atmosphere grew heavy with anticipation. Athena's outrage simmered, her pride wounded by the mortal's defiance. The stage was set for a confrontation that would alter the course of Arachne's fate. A clash where pride and skill would determine the future. In this moment, the stakes were clear. Not just a competition of artistry, but a test of humility and the divine order. The nymph's decision would soon be known, but the consequences of this weaving competition were already unfolding. The air was heavy with tension as Athena and Arachne stood before their respective tapestries. The nymphs gathered around them as judges. Athena's work depicted her glorious victory over Poseidon in the contest for Athens, a scene of divine power and majesty. Arachne, on the other hand, had woven a tapestry that was a bold critique of the gods, a depiction of Zeus's deceitful abduction of Europa, a story of mortal suffering and divine duplicity. The nymphs marveled at the brilliance of both works, but it was Arachne's tapestry that stirred something deeper within them. It was a masterpiece, a work of art that spoke to the heart of mortal experience. Athena's gaze lingered on Arachne's tapestry, her expression a mixture of admiration and outrage. She could not deny the brilliance of the mortal's work, but she could not abide the insolence that fueled it. "Your skill is undeniable, Arachne," Athena said, her voice calm but laced with a warning. "But your audacity is foolish. You dare to challenge a goddess? You, who are but a mortal, dare to question the divine?" Arachne stood tall, her eyes meeting Athena's with a fierce determination. "I do not challenge the gods out of malice," she replied, her voice steady. "I challenge them because I believe in the truth of my art. My tapestry speaks of the world as it is, not as the gods would have it seem. I will not be silenced by fear of divine wrath." Athena's expression darkened, her divine anger rising to the surface. "You are bold, Arachne," she said, her voice cold and commanding. "But boldness without humility is nothing but arrogance. You have been warned, and yet you persist in your defiance. Now you will face the consequences of your pride." With a swift motion, Athena tore Arachne's tapestry from the loom, the threads snapping like brittle twigs. Arachne gasped, her heart aching as if the very soul of her art had been ripped away. But Athena was not finished. Raising her hand, she struck Arachne with the shuttle of her loom, the blow sharp and painful. Arachne stumbled, her vision blurring as a strange sensation coursed through her body. As the nymphs watched in horror, Arachne's form began to change. Her limbs twisted and contorted, her body shrinking and transforming until she was no longer recognizable as a human. Her skin hardened into a dark, shiny exoskeleton, and from her back sprouted 8 delicate legs. Arachne had been transformed into a spider, a creature of the shadows, her once beautiful hands now mere appendages of a loathsome beast. "You have been proud, Arachne," Athena declared, her voice echoing with divine authority. "Now you will crawl in the dust as a creature of the earth. Let this be a lesson to all who would dare to challenge the gods." Arachne, now a spider, looked up at Athena with eyes that still held a glimmer of defiance. She had been humiliated, transformed into a creature of contempt, but her spirit remained unbroken. Even in her new form, she felt the familiar urge to weave, to create. And so she began to spin, her silk threads forming intricate patterns that shimmered in the light. Athena watched her, a mixture of anger and admiration in her heart. "You are cursed, Arachne," she said, her voice softening ever so slightly. "But even in your transformation, your talent endures. You are a reminder that even the gods cannot fully extinguish the spark of creativity that burns within the soul." And with that, Athena turned and departed, leaving Arachne to her fate. The spider that was once a mortal weaver continued to weave, her art now a shadow of its former glory, but still a testament to the enduring power of creation. The nymphs, who had witnessed the entire ordeal, could not help but feel a sense of awe and pity for the fallen mortal. Arachne's story became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of hubris and the unyielding will of the gods. Yet, even in her transformed state, Arachne found a strange sort of freedom. She wove not for the approval of the gods, but for the sake of her art itself. And in that she found a quiet defiance, a refusal to let her spirit be crushed even by the weight of divine wrath. The spider's web was no longer the masterpiece of a mortal weaver, but it was still a work of beauty, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. And so, the story of Arachne came to an end, a tale of pride and punishment, of creativity and defiance. It was a story that would be told for generations, a reminder of the delicate balance between mortal ambition and divine authority. And in the end, even Athena could not help but admit that the spider's web was a work of art, a small but enduring testament to the talent of the mortal who had dared to challenge the gods.